Clones, clones, everywhere clones. How's that for a title? Clones, cloning.
Clones, clones,
Oops.
everywhere clones.
Hold on a second. I gotta turn my audio off. There we go. Yeah, cloning is a very interesting subject. It's absolutely real. I've even got some videos tonight for some whistleblowers, but it's been going on for years and years and years. But we're living at a time now where are they using them out in the public, and especially related with some of the celebrities, some of those situations we've seen. And I've got other examples and other observations when it comes to clones we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to show you some clips. Um, it really makes you wonder, man. Like, doesn't it? It makes you want. I mean, even to the most obvious. Hey, Gen Xer 358, thank you, man, very much. But even to the most obvious, like the that thing we called Biden, another example. That could have been a mix of things, right? So masks, we've seen it, the mask of him a few times. So we got the masks, we got body doubles, because we got that one that came out that was like 4 foot taller or 4 inches taller than the other Biden. Um, Robotoids, possibly. I'm sure y'all have seen those videos with Biden walking side by side with some of these humanoid robots, and they look exactly alike. It's the same gait. They're walking the same way. Also, could it be clones? A little mix of it all, perhaps. But I've selected some very interesting clips for us to go over tonight, talk about, look into, and a few things I'll read just in the beginning. And we'll explore this subject even more. Clones, clones, everywhere clones. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tamara. Good to see you. Hey, Rains of Healing, Justin, Biker Jim, Yeshua Lawson, Ryan, L. Ivy, Frederick, Natasha, Arks, Frederick, Bora, Boreal, Derm. Good to see you. Kava, McCoy. Good to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good week. I know it's all been really crazy, hasn't it? I've been a little perplexed because of the weather. I know. I'm always bitching about the weather, but in our state, it's just been nuts. In March, every day but one or two was record heat. So far this month, every day but one is record heat. And just yesterday, they were saying that the way this is tracking is that this summer in Oklahoma, in the Midwest, it's going to be every day 10 to 15 degrees hotter than what it normally would be. When I went online, I know I follow this weather stuff, I tell you. When I went online, I was reading about it here in Oklahoma. Every article was blaming what do you think? You already know. You already know. Climate. The climate is changing. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm telling you. And it's just, I hate seeing it because I'm like, dang you, devil. It's like you see some of the tricks, and this is one of them. Because they still spray over here constantly, and that's causing a lot of these issues. So, they create the problem reaction solution, but they create the problem. Then, of course, deny that they're doing anything, but say, well, look at that climate change. Sure is making the heat go up. It's like, oh my goodness. But anyway, I'm going to stop being a grumpy middle aged man about the weather, okay? I'm going to try to. But I just like having my windows open and my doors open. I'm one of those kind of people. You know what I mean? But anyway, enough about the weather, all right? I'm going to get over it eventually. But otherwise, man, I'm doing okay. My parents actually need prayer, if you don't mind. My mom and dad both are suffering serious issues right now, and it all happened around the same time. So it's been ongoing, but here lately, my mom is just in a lot of pain, like every day. What bums me out is her doctor gave her OxyContin. Is it Oxy or is it Hydro something? Anyway, gave her one of those things, whatever they call hydrocodone or something, but it's like something that's highly addictive. It's a strong painkiller. And, I just talked to her yesterday, asked how everything's going. She said, oh, my doctor's going to double my dose. I was like, Mom, I know you're in a lot of pain, but man, you've got to really just be careful taking that stuff, okay? And I've been praying for her on that because, people get easily hooked on that crap. You know what I mean? So, but thank you for your prayers. I appreciate it. But that's it, man. Otherwise, just getting you a little caught up. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a good week, like I said. And let's go ahead and tarry no longer. And let's go ahead and jump in here and get started. We've had a good 5 minutes. Let some people come in. Thanks again for joining, guys, for a very fun subject. I got some very interesting clips and articles to go over with you. So let's check this first one out, man. Startup company has been quietly pitching cloned human bodies to transfer your brain into. How many times have we seen this in movies and TV shows, in science fiction, this idea? It's been out there. And it also makes sense because these Luciferians that are running the system, at the top of the pyramid, if you will, they know they've made their choice. They know that they don't, where they're at right now, they don't have a chance at immortality with the Lord God, with our Creator. So they're going to stick with Satan. And I don't know if Satan's lying to them about this. I don't know how, because perhaps he is, telling them, hey, we're going to do it this way. We can figure it out this way through science. And we're going to live forever here on earth. We're going to live forever here on earth together. We're going to create our own heaven on earth. These are the lies, because Satan hates all of us. Even all the people that, sign up for him, sign over to him. It's unbelievable. But it'll give him all the little candies and treats in this world has to offer, and then just rip their soul into shreds when it's done, right? So this is how they find immortality. Since the mid-1990s, scientists have been obsessed with cloning animals. Dolly the sheep was famously the first mammal to be cloned from a cell taken from an adult mammary gland. That was almost 30 years ago, back in 96. And that came out in the public. So what was happening behind the scenes for years before that? Excuse me. Transitioning from cloning animal embryos to human ones has proven far more controversial, and not only because of the litany of risks involved. So far, scientists have only gone as far as to generate human embryo models, grown stem cells, and clone primates from fetal cells rather than adult cells like Dolly. This hasn't stopped some from exploring the idea as part of a secretive effort to realize an alternative to anti-aging tech that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a dystopian science fiction novel. Yep, because we're living in a movie. You know that. A billionaire-backed stealth startup called R3 Bio recently announced it was raising money to develop non-sentient monkey, quote, organ sacs. How's that? I got a dog. You got a pet? Yeah, I got an organ sac. An eyebrow-raising alternative to animal testing, as Wired reported last week. Such structures would contain all typical organs, excluding the brain, ultimately serving as a source for donor organs and tissues. I mean, this is playing God stuff, and this is like nightmare fuel stuff. It's unbelievable. But according to a sprawling follow-up investigation by MIT Technology Review, R3 Bio's founders secretly have a far more ambitious goal in mind, and that's creating an entire brainless clone of the human body that aging or ill individuals could one day transplant their brain into. And there's a whole Michael Bay movie about that. We'll see a little bit of that here later. One advantage of not developing the brain in the donor bodies, albeit a ghoulish one, such a brain-free clone would nearly circumvent certain moral conundrums over the concept. So just giving you this bit of news here. This is something this startup is actually trying to do. But I'm not surprised. We've seen it before. I did a video, I think it was around 2018, called What Are They Turning Us Into? Which I think was even talking about the same subject back then. So let's see what happens. Here's another one. Oh, this is what I was just talking about, by the way. Hollywood New. In 2005, DreamWorks released a $126 million film starring Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor about human cloning, organ harvesting, and mind transfer. The clones live in a controlled facility. They win a lottery to go to the island, but the island is their death. Interesting. And Epstein had a real financial entity called the Butterfly Trust. Here's all the numbers. Over 120 wire transfers totaling $2.65 million, payments to women with Eastern European surnames. All right. And then the island opens with a butterfly. That's the name of the movie. It's called The Island. And I remember it's 2005. I feel like I did a video on it a long time ago. There's a lot of symbol. Actually, you know what? I've shown clips from the movie and things. I showed some clips. I did a music video, one of the last ones I did a few months ago, and I put some clips in it from that movie because there was tons of symbolism all throughout it. It's one of those movies. There's one-eye symbolism in almost every major scene. The architecture of the most important scene in the film is Masonic, and here's what's crazy. DreamWorks was sued for plagiarizing a 1979 low-budget film that told the exact same story, and they paid millions to settle. Or that's the story, at least. You don't accidentally copy an obscure 1979 B movie. It's a template. It says this clip is only 2 hours. The full 3-hour breakdown's on this person's YouTube channel. You're going to want to see the ending. All right, so he did a whole breakdown here on the movie. So let's check a little bit of this out then. See some of the scenes. This whole movie is about everything we've been talking about. You know, life extension, organic sacks of human parts with no brain. That's creepy.
Then we hear, you're special. You have a very special purpose in life.
Actually, I'll go ahead and move on from this. This will probably be a little slower. It's 2 hours long, and I'd rather get right into the clips. But you can go check that out from Mind Unveiled on YouTube, if you're interested, or on X. You've probably seen the following 2 clips of rapper Kid Buu saying he's a patient of Clonaid and claiming to show his clone. But if you haven't, these things make the rounds all the time when it comes to clones. Maybe you've heard what this guy has to say. There's even a video where he's inviting his clone out, and he comes out and he sits on the couch next to him. And people don't know if it's I think this is before AI too. Several years ago, he put that one up. I'll see if it's in the thread here.
My first gen was born in Jersey. However, I was cloned by Clonaid in Canada. My model number is 0112568, if anyone wants to see the registration and cloning. When I was cloned, they wiped a lot of memory.
Where was your father around during that time?
I don't know. Like I said, a lot of the memories from Clonaid were erased just so that way the new gen can move forward with whatever new programming was made. I believe in a new norm now. I believe in a new norm of like through the creation and synthesis and DNA that we can live like immortal through clones and transfer our consciousness. I'm in living proof now.
We just saw that story.
With my first gen is they took the skull because he initially had written in a will to the Raelian movement that if something were to happen to him, they can ship the skull over immediately to Clonaid. So they can remove a fragment of bone that's located here. And in this fragment of bone, it stores all of your memories and consciousness. And with that, they can make a sufficient replica of yourself, a reproductive version of you, including your memories. And you can be selective as to which ones you keep or don't keep. This process has been around for quite some time. Like Dolly the sheep was cloned back in, I think, the late 70s, early 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Clonaid, I don't want to say too much information. This is going to be broadcasted on the internet.
So, again, you decide, is this something he just wrote and created to be funny, Or, he seemed to know what he was talking about. Like I said, I'll see if there's... Yeah, there it is. So it says, Kid Buu purportedly exposing his clone. This is the clip. And this was from several years back. It said it immediately got removed, I guess. We'll see. Well, I'm glad I found it. In fact, speaking of things I found, I got a very special video to show you tonight on this subject near the end of the show that I've talked about in some of my other shows. It's one of those videos that's really hard to find, but I was able to find it, luckily. It was over on a TikTok, actually, which I was surprised that I found it there of all places. They're pretty strict over there. But anyway, it's an interesting one. That's all I'm going to say, and it has to do with this very subject, and it's one of the craziest videos, I think, that I found throughout the years on this subject, or really any other. You'll see what I mean. But let's watch some of this and see what you think.
Yo, come over here. Sure you want me to do this? Yeah, fuck that shit. Go ahead. What y'all gotta say now? You see him? We got the same tattoos, same hair, same genetic structure. Look at my clone. Go ahead. What you gotta say now? I'll wait all day.
I guess you were born in Jersey?
Yeah.
I guess that was it. Let me see if there's any more from that. I guess not. That's pretty much it. It's a different clip. Let's check this out. About Dolce.
Well, what happened with my first gen is they took the.
We have both seen the film that was taken out of the Dulce facility. This is a facility that's run by the United States government.
Yeah, there's no question that Dulce exists. You know, I was the one that kind of led the research on that. I was at a meeting in Crestone, Colorado, and Tom Adams handed me a letter from a lady who lives in Las Vegas, and she was the one that tipped us off that this thing exists. She knew the location of some photos and videotape that had been taken inside Dulce by a guard who escaped during what they call the Dulce Wars of 1979. Going on and nothing, and there was kind of a lull in the conversation. He says, John, what do you know about cloning? And I said, nothing. I mean, this was so far out to me, and he said, just let me tell you, it's all real and it's all happening. And this is from Cecil McMains, a guy who's so down to earth, who worked on the SR-71.
You're clones. You're copies of people out here in the world.
What?
Copies? What are you talking
Why?
about? Some hag trophy wife needs new skin for a facelift, or one of them gets sick and they need a new part. They take it from you.
I have a mother. I remember her.
Yeah, I know.
I grew up on a farm. I have a little dog, and I had a bike.
A bike. Right. It was a pink flexi flyer with little tassels on the handlebars, and you rode it up the street to your grandmother's house. You ring the little bell, and she came out and served you cookies on a hot plate.
Yeah.
No, memory imprints. I seen him. A buddy of mine is a programmer at the Institute. He showed me. There's only like 12 stories. They change around little details, but they're all pretty much the same. The life you think you had before the contamination never happened. Come on, don't look at me like that. At least you had a bike.
At least you had a bike. Really good movie, too. I mean, thinking back, I need to go watch it again. Yeah, but that's a little clip from it, from The Island. Here's another really wild one, man. Do you guys remember this? It says that time that Jenna Ortega made a long post about how she felt like she was cloned, but literally no one talked about it. Yeah, she put this up and then quickly took it back down, but I'll read it to you. From Jenna Ortega. Says, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how the rest of the cast has all this BTS because I've got jack crap. Everything I've posted has been sent to me, and that's the honest truth. There are things out there of myself on the Wednesday set that I've just never seen in my life. It's almost not even me. It's like I've been cloned and have been leading two lives. Or I am the clone taking accountability for someone else's actions, ? I documented some stuff maybe during the last month, but I broke my phone and now all re-downloaded. It looks like it was filmed on a toaster. I'm so impressed by everyone, but also I just into the rope, you understand? Which is interesting because this came out before her change. And as you know, she's one of the celebrities that she seems different now. Like her face changed. You know, a lot of them are going through this, as you know. But that's interesting. And like I said, and this is from her. I'm glad they caught it. But the word on the street is she took it down pretty quick right after. And then not long after that, we got like a new Jenna Ortega on the scene. Huh? Who's this? Who's this? Britney Spears. This is also in the files, by the way, if you didn't know this, about her being cloned from the actual files.
And the Epstein files are now saying that Britney Spears is cloned. We all wondered, what happened to the London look? Why does she have that gap in her teeth? It's because it's not Britney. The Britney Spears that we have seen, especially recently, is not Britney Spears. Who would put gaps in their teeth if they had perfect pearl whites? Remember Britney like this. This was Britney. This is Britney Spears. This is not. This is Britney Spears. This is not. This is Britney Spears. So Britney actually recorded a song called Original Doll. And here are some of the lyrics. The chorus says, she's the original, she's unforgettable. She wants you to know, yeah, she's been cloned. It's kind of incredible, she's so unpredictable, yeah. She wants you to know, yeah, she's been cloned, she's been cloned, she's been cloned. And did this record come out? No, it was canceled for unknown reasons. What? I definitely feel like when Britney Spears was a judge on X Factor USA, it was still her. You can see the teeth there. I always just go by the teeth. The teeth really don't change that much. Whereas like a nose or your ears will grow as you get older. The teeth don't really change unless you get veneers or unless you chip your tooth, right? So I do feel like this still was Britney Spears, but the crash out.
Yeah, what
Britney,
is that?
I don't know. And now that the Epstein files have this document saying that they like cloned her, you know, It's very interesting. It's very.
Yeah, that is. Look at that. Who is this? That's a good side by side. And the teeth, that's a good one because a lot of times I'll look at ears, earlobes, noses, any kind of skin marks, skin tags, freckles. Check some of this out from this gentleman. Here's another whistleblower talking about the clones.
That's the latest technique. The old techniques. If you guys can rent a video, the boys from Brazil.
That's a
Rent it,
good movie
because
too.
in it gives you the exact way how our government's been making people.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
and
come
the
on.
Soviets have a different method called.
I mean, making people meaning temporary people?
No, walking, talking ones.
Meaning through genetics? You're not talking about that?
Well, let me tell you. The movie shows it, but I'll share it with you right now.
All right.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours.
Uh-huh.
We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just don't act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. Again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden that fetus is gone because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows.
That's what Kid Boo is saying.
The original technology was given to our government by the Greys. Now, the reason was that our scientists were all excited because we could have spare parts. If you need a heart or a liver or anything, you won't have any rejection. It's your own DNA, right?
Okay, because theoretically, if we have overpopulation, we don't need more people, right?
But the so-called elite are selecting on who they want to have around anyway, so if we want to keep people going as long as we can. I talked to the doctor that was working on regeneration of Castro, for instance.
Right.
On the DNA sequencing. And they're just learning about this.
Well, my understanding is that a lot of presidents have already been replaced.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't think...
They're walking...
Now that reminds me of the video of President Bush Sr. Do you guys remember that? Of him passing out during some kind of a dinner or something. I guess he was like in another country or whatever, but it looked like he passed out, and it looked like he passed on, actually, during that. Do you guys remember that clip? All the people came around. His body was just gone. He was limp. They were like trying to pull him up, and I don't know how that one got out. It must have been live or something. You know what I mean? Because he's around a bunch of foreign dignitaries, I believe, and all this. But makes me wonder. Maybe that was clone malfunction or something.
Look old, but
it might explain the wickedness, because it's a very evil family for the things they've done. So maybe that's
they
why.
basically some of the people are just
I'll just
second,
give you
third
something
copies.
I'll give you something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush, when he first came into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had he had his stand-in. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard. That's
I
what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a contact. One of our
Stalin
contacts.
Stalin asked for they tried to burn the body, and he got the body back, and he said, we had different ears, and the testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it wasn't Hitler.
But is it a clone or not?
Oh, now you know I'm going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people.
Wow.
There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend
but
that
I
all
wanna
it
know
does
where
is treat the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out, because they always got 2 people following them, and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available. And it's more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what it's going on.
Okay, so
No, let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have, this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your soul memory is another thing. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things.
And you may have seen that message. If not, I'll read it for those who are just listening. What the crap?
Testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it was one that they found in the...
They were just saying that they don't believe in soul transfer and all that, and they gave a scripture. It was Hebrews. I can't remember which one it was, but
Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that, and then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland, and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard. That's what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry, here it is. Hebrews 9:27. I fell back a little. All right, let's jump ahead now. Here we go. A few more minutes. This is good stuff.
They said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized.
Right,
Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Now we have another agenda
Like
that's
terrorists.
going on, so you have to be careful of all this. There are many extraterrestrials that would like to be in on the game right now, so they can sometimes will come into these physical beings that we've made to manipulate them.
I see.
Remember that too, right? Because I'm going to show you what some of those physical beings might be.
So now you have a combination effort that you have to look at, and discernment. You have to discern what the game is. Well, just figure that most of the leaders we have in the world have been bought and paid for or created to think a certain way. And the world.
God created man in his own image, and behold, it was very good. In the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And that's about the movie The Sixth Day, I imagine. Yeah. They did a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called The Sixth Day. It was also about cloning.
Sure, get right on.
Michael Rooker.
Should accident, illness, or age end your
All right, we'll go and move on. Not going to watch a whole lot of that just because, movie clips and all. But this is a good documentary. It's an hour and a half long from Biological Medicine, if you want to check that out sometime. Intruder with a toy bang bang puts KNBC off air. I wanted to read this story to you because this is another really wild one. And it has to do with a little bit with cloning, but it goes back to August 20th, 1987 this happened. A man pointed what appeared to be a bang bang at KNBC TV consumer reporter David Horowitz during a live broadcast Wednesday afternoon and demanded that he read a rambling statement on air about the CIA and space aliens. And the bang bang turned out to be a plastic toy, luckily. Nobody was injured, however. Let's go ahead and find what he wanted to say. Here's what the newsman said, Horowitz, after this guy walked up to him with, at the time, what he thought was a real bang bang. Ladies and gentlemen, he said calmly, there's a man here who wants me to read a statement. Could we get your name, sir? And Gary, where are you from? Says the guy came up and put a bang bang in my back. My first reaction was, I can't believe this is happening. His first words to me were, read this or I'll bang bang you. People later told me how calm I looked, but believe me, I wasn't. All right, let me find where it starts talking about it. He Scoped the studio. Seemed a little unstable. All right. Here we go. The man who has appeared on KMBC for the past 3 years is not my biological father. And this is the guy saying this with the bang bang. He says he is a clone, a double created by the Central Intelligence Agency and alien forces or terrors. It's only a small part of a greater plot to overthrow the United States government and possibly the human race itself. He went on to complain of mistreatment in CIA-run mental hospitals and demanded the release of secret Air Force files concerning UFOs. All right, so I'll stop there. I just want to read some of that. But that happened back in '87, August. He's talking about the cloning. It's interesting. But if that other guy is telling the truth or knows what he's talking about, that's been going on since the 30s, late 30s. Hollywood Insider provides insight on celebrity clones. Let's see what this lady says.
Kardashians are people that use glamour magic. Okay, so they come out and you think they're attractive. They're okay, but they're, whatever. Britney Spears, watch the face. The face changes and they're not always the same people. Yeah, Ariana Grande is, obviously. That is a thing. She told me about being chased by demonic entities 2016. So she was aware of it. But see, here's the thing. This is what I want to explain to you. And it causes anxiety. It causes a lot of things, and it causes you to disassociate. But here's the thing I want to explain to you. When they are born into a family that is a Illuminati, Mason, whatever family, and let's say the kids don't know it. So for example, if they've been inverted in utero and they're just born to their parents, they're like you and I. They wake up in a family and this is their family. Like, I don't really think, like, do you think about really, like, is my mother wrong or crazy? It's not until you're a teenager or something where you can see behavior that you may think that, right? But if they're in these families, they are born doing certain things to begin with, okay? If they're not already harnessed in and through reincarnation cycle and harnessed back in, right? So they come back in through a portal into another body and they're given specifically to that family. So they're chained in the astral. They never really get to die. You get to die, I get to die. I know nobody wants to die, but we get to die. They get trapped in the astral in a different way than we do in the reincarnation one, and they are bound, and they pull them back in, and they use them as a public thing. So do these souls or people like that know it? And when they start doing the rituals that they practice, right? When they start doing that, are they aware that they're open?
Interesting. Her name's Sloan, if you want to look her up. Sloan. Let me see if there's any more from Sloan down here. No. All right. Go and move on. Ariana Grande, that's definitely another one. I think I got a clip of her tonight, too. It says, if you think they haven't got human clones walking amongst us, then think again. When you have money to do anything you want, this is what happens. It says Jim Carrey, Joe Biden, and the list would go on. So let's check some of this out. Oh, yeah, this is an old school clip, too, about cloning. But cloning pets. That whole thing, her whole thing was an act. I mean, there was a thing that came out a few years ago. She's started a business or something. She's no longer on TV, but she was talking in her normal voice, like her real voice. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's like night and day. It's like my sister, like my best friend. Yes, she doesn't talk like that. Another one who was acting. LARPing. Wiz Khalifa just said the quiet part out loud about Jim Carrey. Let's see what he's saying here. And this is just another example, a recent example of, and a lot of people, again, right? It's not just us, in these so-called conspiracy corners. It's like, it's everybody. It's like, what's going on here? It's becoming more obvious.
What happened to Jim Carrey, man? You see that fool, yo? Yeah, they saying he ain't himself no more, man. They saying they got Jim. He do look different, though. I ain't gonna lie. What it seems like to me is the real Jim Carrey got a little bit ahead of himself. He got a little out of control. He was talking too much. So they had to snatch him, and they had to put their Jim Carrey in his place so that he can give out the right message that they want people to hear. But don't quote me on that, because I don't want them to snatch me and give y'all a fake me. Oh, look at that. That's crazy. You see that?
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. Fun fact, all these years they forced rap music and hip hop on us in America, like constantly for like a decade or a couple decades. I really don't like rap music personally, but there are two songs I like out of rap, and one is called Keep Their Heads Ringing from Dr. Dre. It's just a cool song, I think. And the other one is actually from Wiz Khalifa, and it's called Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow, Black and Yellow. Just keep saying that over and over again. But I like it. So Black and Yellow from Wiz Khalifa. Nice to see like he's a bit awake. Let's check this out from an older clip from Jim Carrey talking about using doubles.
Now, we were talking about Jim's problem with the as he calls them, the stalkerazzi.
This is the
because
phrase that I've coined.
They stalk you. He coined that. He came up with that.
Yeah.
So how do you handle it? What is the solution? Because a lot of folks would be interested in this. What do you do?
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy.
I'm sorry, a decoy?
Using a decoy. It sounds so ridiculous, but it works like a
like a double.
It's fantastic.
Like a Jim Carrey double.
A Jim Carrey double.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
So what I do is I send him off in one direction, sucks all the press in that direction, and I can just have my day. And
whatever you want to
go
do.
Wherever I want, totally unmolested. It's fantastic.
Right.
And,
well, they say the best ideas are the simplest ones, and this really couldn't be more simple.
It really is
and
amazing.
I'm sure it works.
really works.
Now, we were talking about the...
Interesting. The real Jim. There's the real Jim. The old days. David Letterman. Man, he was, compared to what we have now for late night talk shows hosts in America, I mean, Letterman was definitely like a legend in a lot of ways. But unfortunately, he started crossing over a bit too much into politics, like in his, since he retired. But I'm glad that while he was on air, just like a Jay Leno was really good with that too. Just, attacking both sides, not even all the time, and mainly just keeping it funny, An email from Epstein to Brian Bishop mentions the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. Oh, boy. So this is from Brian Bishop. Okay. It says, I'm back. Met Simon Black in Lithuania. Let's schedule a call. I can discuss any questions or concerns. Says, okay, I'm back in the U.S. on late Tuesday. Back in action on Wednesday. Says attached is the doc you requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. Right there it is. Next steps, I'm happy to hop on a call, or I could take a trip to meet you in person. Oh, yeah, you'd probably like that. There it is. Designer baby and human cloning. So it's not just a conspiracy theory. This is something real, and they use it. It's like we live in a very, very deceptive system. So in the files, it says Epstein was into cloning and consciousness transfer. Been seeing a lot about that tonight, haven't we? Just as I've been saying, Guy isn't even passed away. He sits around at the cloning centers all the time. They all hang out messing with innocent people daily, laughing it up with each other, this man says. Says in 2018, radio personality Brian Bishop, so we saw that from Brian Bishop. Based on reports surrounding the files and investigations into his activities, Jeffrey held a deep, half-baked interest in transhumanism, eugenics, and immortality, which included fantasies about cloning. I told you, man. See, they know they're anti-Jesus. They know they can't have it the real way, the best way, so they're going to try to create their own way. Consciousness uploading. Epstein was interested in the idea of merging man and machine, just like his father, the devil. Specifically in the concept that his own consciousness could be uploaded or preserved digitally to achieve immortality. So I told you, that's what these people are into, man. It's jacked. It's jacked. No pun intended. Here's another one. And this is another one from the files, and it has to do with Katie Couric, America's sweetheart. I never liked that lady, but she was another talk show host here in America. It says cephalopelvic disproportion is what impedes brain development. It's a good thing Katie Couric isn't here. Oh, I guess they just mentioned her. Says correct. And Richard says, I had images that the clones on channel whatever. Jeffrey, she didn't like that very much. Richard, she wasn't here for the no arms. Yikes. When they hear them talking like that, it makes you wonder. I guess they had some clones with no arms or something stumbling around. Jeffrey, right? Katie Couric was here and we were talking about it. I think we should. I want to start cloning things. Me. And with certain people. Prince Andrew got upset because he was all, in quotes, if it had a conscience, could you kill it for spare parts? And I said, I'll make it without a head. Would that make you feel better? And Katie Couric, I thought, was going to start to vomit. So, interesting, eh? Freaking monsters. Here's some Katie Couric stuff. Katie, would you like to come for tea today or tomorrow? Da-da-da. And Epstein's from Epstein. All right. Fair enough. We move on. But we're finding this in the files. And this whole idea about transferring your consciousness. Finding immortality without Jesus, without the Creator. Not good. Cloning facilities in the files. Let's see what she says. A little update from her, from the girl with the hair. I don't know her name. I forget it, but I'm subbed to her. Oh, it's Gubba Homestead. That's it.
You are not ready for what I found in the Epstein files. Remember when I went on Dr. Phil and said that Taylor Swift could be a clone?
I do believe in the example of Taylor Swift. There is a theory that Taylor Swift is a clone, and that ties back into the Church of Satan. You have Anton LaVey, he was the founder of Church of Satan, and his daughter, Zena LaVey, who is on record talking about how they use music to control people. And she has an uncanny resemblance to Taylor Swift. What are the odds? I think very slim.
Well, in the Epstein files, there's actually a lot of talk about clones and cloning. Like here, attached is the doc you requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. I assume they didn't show Zena LaVey's image on Dr. Phil because then people might be like, wow, her and Taylor Swift do look alike, and they don't want people asking questions and then looking into the symbolism and realizing cloning facilities might actually be real. Reality truly is stranger than fiction, and if you don't think this stuff is happening, I don't know what to tell you. But I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
Good stuff. Gubba Homestead. Yeah, that's been one of those that's been around for quite a while in all the realms I run into on the internet to create my shows and videos. I find a lot of this talk of, and I'm glad she explained it a little better, about Anton LaVey's daughter being, Swift being a clone of her. Interesting, eh? All right, we'll move on. Good stuff. Gubba Homestead. Taylor Swift. Man, she's done some wild stuff in her concerts. I've done some videos and showed you some of this stuff. She shows the tidal wave coming, like a tsunami, and then right after that, the rapture of the church. She does this stuff in her concert. I showed you guys. It's crazy, but it's not. Psychic and aura and she's before the tsunami. It's like there's missile symbolism. It's so weird. Psychic and aura reader Lottie Lux explains how some of Epstein's victims were astral trafficked. This also gets into clones. So let's see what this lady has to say.
I have a friend, she was a victim of Epstein. I go back and forth with her sometimes, and I ask her, I'm like, do you ever feel like you're ever watched? Because another victim came out talking about how she was astral trafficked.
What? Oh.
Yeah, she was talking about being astral trafficked after being a victim of Epstein.
How does that work?
This is a long story. I go back and forth with her because it's crazy that we connected now after I found out that she was a victim, because when I was growing up, she was going through all that. That's when I knew her. And I was like telling her, do you feel like somebody's ever watched you in your sleep? sleep. We go back and forth, and she doesn't have any experiences with it, but it's crazy how some of the other victims do. You know, I guess they have their third eye on. They realize, like, oh, my soul is actually stuck with this guy in a way. I know, it's so dark.
No, it makes sense though. When you look into the Epstein, they were talking about cloning, time travel. So
Yeah.
all these things that seem far-fetched, they're not at this point.
There's people that have came out that have worked for the CIA. There's one man who said, I was in a picture with Abraham Lincoln. Have you seen that guy?
Project Pegasus. I've seen that to where they had this program essentially where they were sending kids back in time.
Why kids?
Well, because their minds can handle it. At first, they were sending adults through this portal, which at first it was just point A to point B. Right. But then as you go more intense with it, it can go back into time. But they were finding out that the older you are, the more rigid your mind is set in this reality. Some people weren't coming back at all. Some people were coming back manic. It broke them. They came back older.
Like physically?
Yes. So like sometimes they'll lose their mind. Other people got way older than what they were supposed to be. Some people didn't come back at all. And then the kids, they were like, well, wait a minute, because they noticed the age difference. They were like, if we send people who are younger, who are still more connected to another type of realm, like they have imagination, they're not so set in this world. They're kind of like in between, right? So that's when they started to send kids back in this portal this time. He went to the Gettysburg Address, and there was a picture in the kid with a 70s haircut who was there.
What did they expect the kids to do?
They were just doing experiments and seeing like if it worked, or seeing if they can actually go through time and witness things and whatnot. So
If they're doing that to children, imagine what they've done to our timelines.
That was what? How long ago was Project Pegasus?
Oh yeah, that was decades ago.
CERN, like we said, that's a giant ass portal underground.
CERN's
That's
about
what it
to-
is.
And CERN's about to be fired up in 2029, so they just shut it down. So it's on a 3-year cycle.
What are they
2030.
gonna do you know?
They do upgrades, right? Every 3 years, they'll turn it on and then they'll turn it off to do upgrades. So I think when they turn it on in 2029, right before 2030, it's just a more advanced, more powerful version of them smashing the subatomic particles.
It's just like more powerful at that point? Or-
Yeah.
So Project, what is it, 2030?
Agenda 2030.
Agenda 2030? Project 2030?
Agenda 2030 is when everything is in a totalitarian system. Digital IDs, AI takes over.
And they're firing up CERN in 2029.
Right.
Right just in time.
Which is weird.
Yeah, like, who do y'all have coming through there?
Good stuff. Yeah, I like that. Good stuff. And yeah, man, Project Pegasus would be a fun one. I'll mix that in with some other things some Friday night. We'll do a show on that because it's really crazy. Just, there we go. Project Pegasus. The children who waited. Yeah, we'll check into that some other time. But that's a cool rabbit hole if you want to dive down that one a bit. Just when you thought the files couldn't get any weirder, but wait, there's even more here. Let's check some of this out. Back with clones, too.
After going through the devil files for almost 2 weeks now, I'm not sure what's up or down anymore. Today I want to share some of the strangest things I've seen in these files. And we're going to start it off with a banger. This disgusting video that was found in the devil's camera roll. What's on his face? I could throw up. This is the devil in flesh. Now, some of us have basements underneath our house. Well, he has a trap door that leads right down into the ocean. Yep, this is not on a boat or a yacht. This is off of his living room. Now,
I wonder, because he's such a wicked man, has such power in the beast system, I wonder if somehow that's a connection with the Marine Kingdom. I don't know, maybe.
why he has this and what he uses it for,
Gives them to
guys, I
children.
can't go there because God only knows. Speaking of his home, I find one of the creepiest rooms to be this quote-unquote dental office. Now, apparently his girlfriend is a dentist or was a dentist, and they used this room to allegedly fix the teeth of some of the young victims. Apparently he wanted them to have nice smiles, liked nice teeth. My question to that would be, then why didn't you sit in the fucking chair? Like, look at the creepy masks on the wall. And I have a strong feeling this room was not used for dental purposes. This next shit, you guys, cloning and designer babies are talked about in emails over and over and over again. Let's read one. From Jeffrey Epstein to Brian Bishop. Attached is the doc you requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. This gets us out of our self-funded garage biology phase to the first live birth of a human designer baby and possibly a human clone within 5 years. Once we reach the first birth, everything changes and the world will never be the same again. And who he talks to in these emails over and over again about human cloning and designer babies is this Brian Bishop. Apparently he's some Bitcoin investor, and he approached the devil in 2018, seeking an investment for this designer baby project. Now, one of the things I found to be completely random was his obsession with Emmy Rossum. A lot of you guys probably know her from Phantom of the Opera, Shameless, loved her in that. He tries to get her to go out with him over and over and over again. No, vol au vacant? How about an intellectual adventure? Join me for an afternoon trip one day next week. And then she basically says, sounds fantastic, very interesting. I may have to go to work in LA that week, but if not, I'd love to. I'll keep you posted. He even tries to woo her with musician talk. Emmy, Bach allegedly told his students playing the piano was really easy. Just play the right note at the right time. With that in mind, how does 3 o'clock sound for an early tea? And she writes, Dear Jeffrey, sounds enticing. However, I have to work all day. I'm in the studio from 11. She constantly declines this pig in the nicest way possible over and over and over again. Thank God, Emmy. I'm going to go outside, touch some grass, and remind myself that I'm not in some...
Yeah, that's very interesting. Designer babies, man, that mind really wonders. Also, after seeing the trap door situation straight into the ocean, and from what Erica told us, from her situation, her story, her experience, that, you know, they like to eat babies, you know, so, you know, the mother goddess, the principality in that area, whatever you want to call it, likes to eat a bunch of babies, right? So maybe, I mean, again, we're talking wild stuff here, but what if that's part of it, designer babies. The idea was to create a bunch of them, and you could just feed a bunch of them, just open the door, and there's one of the mermaids or mermen or whatever kind of creature down there waiting, and just start dropping them in. Yeah, there you go. Take them to your queen. I want to save this 10 over here for me. Oh boy. But there you go. Interesting. The cloning stuff is in the files in way more than just one place. During this performance, 26 years ago, you can see Britney's clone dancing in the crowd. This is a real weird one. Well, it got over 1 million views. I was going to say, I don't think it gets enough traction, but I'm glad it got over 1 million views. But watch this closely.
Year 2000. Now 26 years ago, next in the Epstein files, we have Britney Spears being cloned. However, we've known that for years. In the year 2000, now 26 years ago, Britney was at Top of the Pops in London when the camera panned out and saw her clone dancing in the crowd. How was this possible? This is before AI existed.
In her music video, Break the Ice.
There she is. I showed the camera pan. And that's her. It looks just like her. Before AI.
Into a cloning center and destroying all the cloning tubes. On December 30th, 2004, Britney Spears made a surprise appearance at the radio station of LA's Kiss FM, where she independently released the demo of her new song, Mona Lisa. This song was supposed to be the single off her 5th album, Original Doll, but the album was never released. The original lyrics of Mona Lisa say, "She's the original, she's unforgettable, she wants you to know, she's been cloned." Why was the Original Doll album and this song never released? And now when you go to Google, the lyrics say, "She's been gone."
All right, we got it, I think. Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah, that's wild. Again, it's in there. I don't know how many of y'all have gone through the files. I haven't myself, but I keep thinking I'm going to. I don't know, if I come up with any names I'm curious about, I'll go put them in, because that's what you do. You can go to the files online, and there's a search engine there, and you can just put in anything, and it'll show you every instance that word shows up. So you can put in cloning there, and you can just find everything, that's in there. Or put in a celebrity's name, Suzanne Summers' husband, I've shown you all this in the past, but it's just perfect for tonight, especially with all the weirdness of soul transfers, but also creating robots that look like your past loved ones. Suzanne Summers' husband says he created an AI clone of his late wife 2 years after her death. The digital twin was built using her voice, interviews, and personal memories. Gee, how'd they do that? When you look at the finished one next to the real Susan, you can't tell the difference, he says. But I just saw a thing since I was going through all this subject matter over the last several days, I saw a story recently where he says, I guess it's been over a few years now since he's had her, and everything's going great. So in case you're wondering, the relationship is thriving, apparently.
Does the name Alan Hamill mean anything to you?
Of course I do. Alan Hamill is my husband of 55 wonderful years. He's my partner in everything, from life to love, and we've shared so many beautiful memories together. Do you have a favorite memory of us?
What's your favorite memory that we share?
Oh, there are so many. One of my favorites is when Alan and I were filming a cooking segment together a long time ago. We had a little mishap with the blender. Let's just say it didn't go as planned, and we ended up wearing more to the smoothie than we actually made. We laughed so hard, and it became a...
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? My whole attitude is if I were in that situation, I could only imagine you'd want to let it go, man. Like, let her go, you know? I wouldn't want that constant reminder. Personally, I wouldn't, but it's me. Next clip. Human cloning, clones living amongst us. Let me see what this one is. This is 15 minutes long, so we'll check some of this out here.
Even seem to think like us, and yet they are not. Human clones, complete biological duplicates. Could they soon be living among us? According to some researchers, they already are. Multiple whistleblowers have testified that human cloning was developed by highly classified black-budget military projects.
Since '38, we've been making clone people.
He is.
Could some of your favorite entertainers have been secretly replaced with clones?
Yep, Chappelle's
What
one.
about politicians?
We wonder.
World leaders. Welcome to a brave new world of human cloning, where complete duplicates of anyone living or
Illuminati
dead
card
can
game.
be created to order.
Then there's that. So there's that whole rabbit hole. And I'm sure many of you in these parts, at least, if you're around these parts, you probably looked into this. But so many pictures of some of the biggest actors in the world got these doppelgangers, from many, many years ago. So a lot of people are wondering if that could be a part of the whole cloning situation as well.
Met a clone? Yeah, I think I met some clones before.
And for these folks to have those pictures, out there, like in public, you would assume they had to be on some kind of a high level, maybe a politician, maybe a celebrity back then, something. Because you don't just find tons of pictures from the 1920s, of all the people. You know what I mean?
Clones amongst us.
Now, with stunning new scientific breakthroughs, and several celebrities, including Nicki Minaj and B.O.B., tweeting about human cloning, what was once relegated to the realm of science fiction now appears to be a reality. It's time to take a closer look at human cloning. In 1997, researchers in Scotland created worldwide controversy when they announced the successful cloning of...
All right, way past Dolly. Let's jump up in here and see what we got. Uh-oh. Probably have to refresh it.
Or is this scientific research?
Here we go. Probe points to researcher after gruesome... All right. I guess I'll move on from this one. Just want to play some of it anyway. Let's see what this says about Jay-Z.
However, if they decide they want to quit, or something tragic happens to one of them, studios stand to lose considerable investment. Replacement clones are easier to control and manipulate, attracting less attention than an outright assassination, and allowing the owners to regain control and continue earning money. The Illuminati are said to have cloned many celebrities.
You ever met a clone?
Have I met a clone? Yeah, I think I met some clones before.
See?
Really?
So there's clones amongst us.
The rapper Gucci Mane was sent to prison for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. But it was his return less than 3 years later that sparked controversy among fans. Not only had the rapper lost a considerable amount of weight, but his speech and mannerisms seemed to have changed as well.
He told me, yeah, we gotta get you in. Too gangster. Keep this crap. Get what the nigga Blue said, man. That's why I fought him to the day. Yeah, I just had to sit down about you. Yeah, we ain't gonna let you in. Yeah, I be riding too much. But we fuck with you.
What do you want for lunch for today?
Just fruit, veggies, and water.
That's
Light.
it?
Very light. I wanted to go light but excessive.
Oh.
Clean but opulent.
Sounds totally different.
Some even speculate that people from the past are being cloned and brought to life again as leading actors or musicians. Such theories point to the uncanny resemblance some stars show to figures from the past. Talent can be hard to come by. Imagine a world where legendary musicians or artists could be brought back to life. What would a modern-day Mozart create? Obsessed collectors will pay ungodly amounts for memorabilia owned by their favorite stars. But the ultra-wealthy could have the real thing brought back to life for their amusement. The elite have fiendish desires. If, for instance, one fantasized about a particular starlet, they could have a clone of them made as a sex slave. Politicians could be using clones as doubles for speaking events, etc. Having body doubles and lookalikes has long been common for world leaders. Also, if a genuine candidate was elected president and didn't acquiesce to the shadow government's control, he or she could be replaced with a clone under MK Ultra mind control. Several celebrities have tweeted about human cloning or cloning centers. Others seem to be giving cryptic references in songs or music videos. Through the mass media, the shadow elite seem to be conditioning the public to the idea of cloning. Several movies and television shows seem to be hinting at the existence of human cloning. One such show is The Simpsons, a sitcom already known for predictive programming and the use of seemingly inside knowledge. And Family Guy, in which Stewie makes a clone of himself called Bitch Stewie.
I needed some kind of an errand boy to do all my nitpicky pain-in-the-ass stuff, so I cloned myself.
You cloned yourself?
What are you, deaf? What?
The New York Times recently revealed that Barbara Streisand had cloned...
All right, I'll stop there. This video is almost over, but that was some really good stuff there in the end. So well done. Jay Myers Documentaries, I believe. I think that's who that's from. Jay Myers Documentaries. Well done. Good stuff. Interesting. And yeah, I was thinking the same thing before he said it about the elite. Like, if they really have that access, how creepy they could be. Like, say, oh, so-and-so's hot. You know, I'm going to have a clone of Sydney Sweeney. Weirdos, man. The mundane of clones to the most nefarious of cloning. Let's check this out.
We'll start with the most mundane type of cloning and work to the most grotesque, the most nefarious. And the most mundane is doubles. Political leaders since time immemorial have had doubles because you can't walk out to a rally necessarily if there's a chance you might get assassinated. The second is the doppelganger. Now, we're all told that there's somebody else out there that looks exactly like us. Number three is what I call reincarnated similars. And I know you will have seen this before. Famous, for instance, celebrities who look exactly like a figure from hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. Number four is mask wearing. Mask wearing
There he
is
is.
a way of making us
Good examples.
appear to have a different identity. The fifth type of cloning is what I call frozen, where the body is put in temperatures like 130 degrees below zero to preserve them for a future date. Last but not least, the one you've been waiting for is the vril powered, draconian, reptilian, satanic parasite that enters through the eye and produces what we know as the Black Eye Club. And we're going to go really deep into the Black Eye Club.
All right, this is from... I'm trying to see. All right, let's get to it, boys. Unified TV, if you want to see some more from that gentleman. Nice breakdown. Started with the basics. And this is from DreamWorks again. This is The Island. Yep. We saw that earlier. I'm going to rewatch that. I remember it being good, but also filled with the symbols. They're not clones, it's worse than that. Could this be biblical? This young man says.
They're not clones. It's worse than that. Everyone's talking about celebrity clones, but what if I told you it's not cloning? It's something the Bible warned us about 3,000 years ago. And you've seen it. Your favorite artist suddenly acts different, or your favorite actor, a different energy, different eyes, and people say they cloned them. But listen, cloning is the cover story for what's actually happening. The Canaanites practiced child sacrifice to Moloch, but it wasn't just killing. In Leviticus 18 and 21, they call it passing through the fire. They were performing soul transfer rituals, harvesting life force and putting entities into other bodies. That technology never died. It just went underground. When someone signs their life away to the industry, that's a covenant. It's a trauma-based programming, and it fractures the original soul. And rituals create the opening. The original person dies spiritually, and a prepared entity walks its way on in the same body, but a different driver. And that's why they seem off. In Mark 5 and 9, it says legion, multiple entities in one body, familiar spirits. In Leviticus 19 and 31, it says demons that mimic the person they replaced. This isn't new. It's ancient Canaanite tech repackaged for entertainment industrial complex. It explains sudden personality changes, lost memories, and different mannerisms, and doing unspeakable things without remorse, because their conscious left, and what's operating now is something else entirely. They don't clone bodies, they steal them, and you're watching it happen in real time.
All right, how's that for a different perspective? It's definitely a different angle on it all. I like it. I like it. These bodysuits will be on robots soon. Check this out. Kill the music. Look at these. What would be the purpose, right? Oh, it's for medical stuff. I don't know, man. Is it? Or is not the cover? I went to a medical type training in the Coast Guard. I was a corpsman for 4 years, and we had a real human body that we had to learn all the, it was cut open and everything. I can't remember the name we gave it. It had a name, and it had all these little pins with numbers and all the different innards. So we had to learn all this stuff. So, unless they're doing it for a CPR thing, but they already have CPR dummies that are perfect, They work fine. So I don't know. It's interesting. Orlando Brown says soul swapping is the real cloning in Hollywood. Yeah, here's another one. Similar to what the last guy was saying.
And he does it right in front of them. And he says, yo, bro, I'll switch your wife out and I'll put another one of your wife inside of her body. And they're walking around and you think that's your wife, and it's not your wife. This is what's going on. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer spiritual. We've figured out how to, turn into spirit and exchange the soul in order to control the vessel. So if I have the vessel and I'm just nothing but spirit, I can ruin your life. That's what everybody has been going through. So they can't recognize it unless you say things like the switch. So when they watch that and they see that there's other people that can identify other than me, it's not just me playing games. It's the truth. We have to be careful with who we want. You'll be in the car with Paul, man, but you're really in the car with Peter. But that's Paul's body. But why is Peter in Paul's body? I've been going through this for a while in order to figure out and identify every soul inside of every vessel.
It was Max Spears there at the very end. Again, back to the soul transfer idea and beings walking amongst us that aren't exactly human, right? Perhaps not even the human we think. Here's another one that's been pretty wild. Selena Gomez is in the files as well, if you didn't know. Let's check it out.
Was actually mentioned in an email by Epstein. And he says, sorry, you would have had fun. He has decided
and then it says like a number. Okay. And I think it's redacted actually. Yeah. A0. He has decided on Selena Gomez. Now this was a month before Selena Gomez had her almost fatal surgery. Do you remember this? Oh. So a month before, Epstein was emailing this. He has decided on Selena Gomez. No. And then boom, she is going through a surgery. But the theory is that she did die. I never heard this theory. No, I think so. Bro, you haven't heard this? No. Wow, this is like Loki, the biggest theory right now. Really? Yeah. So the theory goes, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Yeah. They actually had a kid. Oh, this kind of makes sense now. Now, the theory was they actually had a kid. And guess who the kid is? Who people speculated is right now. Wait, hold on. I don't know. Kourtney Kardashian's son. The one that looks like Justin. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. So, speculation thinks that that's actually Justin and Selena's kid. And what happened actually was because Justin and Selena had a kid together, the Illuminati wanted them to sacrifice the kid. But Selena did not want to do that. She said, sacrifice me instead. So they gave her the illness, or they decided it was her. Theory was she sacrificed herself, she died. And what we see now is a clone of Selena. Oh my, that's mad. So what's so interesting is Justin Bieber, even in his music, he actually had some lyrics that correlate to this whole thing. No way. Yeah. So when one of the songs, he goes, since the love that you left is all I get, I want you to know that I can't be close to you. I'll settle for the ghost of you and miss you more than my love. So if you think about it, he's not, he can't even see Selena. He sees the clone Selena. That's not her. And Justin.
All right, we'll move on. Thanks, boys. Interesting perspective. But yeah, like I said, you can go, if you're interested, go to the files, put any name in, and just see if they're there. You know, to like find everything.
Hundreds and hundreds of people being cloned in underground facilities in Australia and in some parts of the United States. They can make a George Norrie in about 8 years from baby to you. Okay. The problem is the brain cannot grow that fast as the body can.
What happens to the human soul, Emery, in this kind of situation? Does the clone have a separate soul? We've all heard about cloning, but what if you or your friend or someone you met is a clone? Would you even know it? Welcome to Cosmic Disclosure, Emery Smith. Hi, Emery, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, George. Thanks for having me.
These clones, that could be just about anything, all walks of life. They could be ETs, they could be humans that are cloned. What do we know about that?
Well, cloning's been done before I even came along. They've been cloning animals for quite a while, and in the hybrid programs that I was associated with, they were cloning not only species like plants and animals, but they were also regenerating tissues of extraterrestrials and growing them and then cloning them. And then they started cloning humans a very long time ago. It's interesting now that in the news, after talking about this a few times, that now they're coming forward. China just has been doing it forever, but in their underground facilities, cloning people and cloning, of course, you heard about, they cloned their first primate. And hey, they can clone a primate. This verifies what I'm talking about, but they can definitely clone a human. And they're also growing humans for organs. And, there's a big controversy behind this. But clones are everywhere. Human, extraterrestrial, they're wandering all over. Some people will refer to these as doppelgangers because they can grow a human to look like someone and mind program and implant them with circuitry and things like this. And they will really think they had this life and implant them into a business or into whatever organization they want. And if many times you'll be walking down the street, you'll hear people say you could look this up online, man, this person looks just like me. Sure. Like, why is that? How did they get there? And they have no, idea that they're probably were part of this clone.
Why does Millie Bobby Brown look exactly like Elizabeth Perkins?
If you know, you know.
You're clones.
You're copies of people out here in the world.
Our administration believes that there are loopholes that could allow the cloning of human beings.
Why? Some hag trophy wife needs new skin for a facelift, or one of them gets sick and they need a new part. They take it from you.
Kevin Hart's crash, that horrible accident that really, when you see the photos, everyone is wondering how in the world they all survived.
I have a clone. It's a good three of me.
Kevin and the two other people were in the car with him.
You've seen people die from far lesser car accidents than that.
The DJs claim that Britney and her boyfriend had been killed in a car crash on a Los Angeles freeway. In hours, the internet was buzzing with the tragic news. The Dallas radio station responsible, KEGL, has spent the day apologizing on air for the hoax.
2004, Britney Spears secretly went to work on some music. She wrote an album that she called Original Doll. There were songs where she was talking about feeling like a manufactured pop star. And then there was Mona Lisa.
She wants you to know she's been cloned.
A few years after that, she released a music video, and the video was about her being cloned.
The whole reason you exist is because everyone wants to live forever. It's the new American dream.
Every Kardashian has a clone stored in Calabasas.
Am I a clone? How would I know if I was the clone or if I was the real one? I have a clone.
It's like me versus. Whoa, wait! Don't give away too much, man. Yeah,
I
know
I'm a clone.
Bro, you're a clone.
I'm a third gen. I have a clone for music. I have a clone for film. I have a clone for my personal life. I have a clone for my family life as well. So that's how it gets done.
I can say clone. I want to say clone. All right, so there's like a clone.
I think you have to. I think you have to. They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you.
Behind those walls, there are people with the technology, the ability, and the desire to genetically engineer human embryos, to be the first in the world to successfully clone a human being.
There's no doubt that human beings will be cloned.
Dr. Jacques Cohen, a leader in his field, simply needs the approval of his clinic's ethics committee to make history. So if I had the money, you had the permission, you could clone me tomorrow.
Well, I wouldn't say tomorrow. It will take a year or two. We could clone you probably within 2 years.
What you're seeing here is an actual cloning taking place at the research facility in Scotland that pioneered the technique. In theory, it's blindingly simple. Here, it's an animal. But just as easily, you can take a cell from a human. A scraping of skin will do. Then, get an egg from a female, remove the nucleus and fuse the two with a spark of electricity. And ta-da, you have an embryo. Implant the embryo in a woman, and 9 months later, you have a carbon copy of the person from whom the skin scraping was taken. The first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55.
All right, there we go. That's a good compilation. Let me see what else we
One
got.
that is served deeply knows that the elite have access, and many of them never really doubt.
Cloning, it's really normal. Well, Britney Spears made a video about this place because the thing was, to get advertised and promoted and stuff, she had to basically sell her clone, use of her clone at the cloning center. So the thing was, she signed up right away thinking, yeah, sure, I'll be famous. Well, the thing is, they wanted to use her every night. Old men and stuff. Old men and clones on her, and real people on her clones too.
Yipes. That was, let me see what his name is here.
Real people on her.
Donald Marshall. I'm not sure what to think about some of the stuff he says, though. I'll just tell you, because I've been doing this many years. I've looked into a lot of these people, and all right, let's move on to this here. All right. Listen to what this lady says. This was Hugh Hefner's kind of right-hand woman there for many years, from Playboy fame.
Some other girls because
I was raised in a cloning lab to be the perfect woman for Hugh M. Hefner, so other than the fact that my IQ is probably a little higher than he would like, I have nothing to worry about.
Is it a clown or not?
Oh, now you know I'm going about cloning.
Okay, there we go. I guess it's another one. They keep bringing him in.
I can't say she did or did not because the case is still open. She's 63 years old. I've been knowing her for about 8 years now. She's a part of a movement called the Rayleigh Movement, and they're the founders of Clonade, which is what she works for. Allegedly, they say that she...
Cloning. And human cloning.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. That was Kid Boo again. Kid Boo at it again.
These motherfuckers are trying to clone.
Here's a really wild one because, as you know, many people consider this fella right here, Jamie Foxx, to be a candidate for maybe a clone.
These motherfuckers are trying to...
He's even missing a tattoo. I didn't look that one up. I should have, but there's a tattoo he used to have he no longer has. But listen to this story right here.
Clone me. I didn't have a stroke. So I'm sitting in the hospital bed like these bitch ass, and then I saw me walk.
What he was saying before that is that he was online seeing that people were saying that he was a clone now, or that they were going to clone him. And then this is what happened. So I'll go back a little.
So I'm sitting because trying to clone me. I didn't.
Right, and then he also did that movie around the same time called I think they're cloning Tyrone or something like that, about clones again. So all of it.
Strictly speaking,
We saw this clip earlier, the 60 Minutes clip, lady. So we'll move on. Check this out. Google's human cloning services based in San Francisco is the claim. Let's see.
And all of your information, like where you're from, all your experiences.
Oh, this is actually from a television show, and it's called Altered Carbon. But just listen to what they're saying. It's just right in line with everything we've heard tonight. So check it out. It's from a TV series, though.
Your emotion, who you know, are downloaded onto a DHF called Digital Human Freight. The DHF can then be transferred into one of our organically made sleeves of your choice, and you can basically have your conscious mind but in a different physical body. So our sleeves typically last 1 to 100 years. We do different facial features, different body structures, anything you like. The sleeve can do any physical function that you can do, like run, eat, sleep, breathe, burn, drown, anything you can think of, the sleeve can do. The back is implanted.
So yeah, Altered Carbon, they call them sleeves. You can put your consciousness into them and then build them up however you want, make them, the most beautiful, the most handsome, or whatever. And interesting, right? That's an idea that we hear from these Luciferian so-called elites. Then there's the whole Jim Carrey thing. I just want to throw this in for good measure, since he's one of the most recent celebs that just seem different and look different. And signs autographs with a different hand now.
And I made mistakes, and I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love, and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried. My favorite funny face is the one I'm wearing right now. I'm dead. And I made mistakes, and I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love.
So there we go. Yeah, this whole thing's just very weird with him, as you know. And again, we're not the only ones that see it. It's not just some fringe group online that's, questioning everything. Here's another one, though, I wanted to show IMDb, just to give you an idea of the level of programming that's been taking place with this subject. Clones, movies, and shows. This is all of them. There's 103 titles. So I'm just going to kind of scroll a little bit. There's the sixth of the day. Jurassic Park, of course, about cloning. Multiplicity was a good one from 96 with Michael Keaton. Alien Resurrection. Avatar, Boys from Brazil, really good one. Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. I need to go ahead and check it out again, but it's all about cloning, and it's really interesting. As that guy was saying earlier, the whistleblower, watch it, because it's one of these movies where it's programming, predictive. They're showing a lot of the things that they actually do. The Resident Evil films. Oh, Aeon Flux, I remember that. Monsters vs. Aliens, Superboy, all these Avengers, Star Trek, Soldier, The Island, there it is. Babylon ID, Ultraviolet, Godsend. So just scrolling through, but you get an idea. Oh yeah, Island of Dr. Moreau is a really cool one. If you guys ever seen that. Cloud Atlas, Logan's Run, awesome movie. I've referenced that one a bunch. I need to go back and rewatch the whole thing again. Maybe do a video on just the movie. Or maybe we'll do a live show some night. But see, I don't know how much of that footage I can play on here. That's the only thing that sucks about doing live shows over on YT. They're pretty hardcore about copyright stuff, you know. But that'd be fun just to be able to watch a whole movie with y'all on a Friday night. We could watch Logan's Run. It's 2 hours long, and just pick it apart as we go, you know. Because there's a lot to pick apart there in Logan's Run. There you go. Just wanted to give you a bit of an idea. Species, Blade Runner. How much, right? That's a lot of programming over a lot of years. Why is the internet obsessed with celebrity clone conspiracy theories? This is from the Hollywood Reporter, and this is from just March 5th of 2026, so about a month ago or so. Jim Carrey, Selena Gomez, and Avril Lavigne are some of the stars who have found themselves at the center of viral theories circulating on social media. And this is a mainstream site, of course, if you didn't know. So they're, they're not going to get deep into the weird, most likely. Conspiracy theorists are not at all likely to be simple-minded. Oh, that's nice to hear. Mentally unwell folks, a portrait which is routinely painted in pop culture. Instead, many turn to conspiracy theories to fulfill, deprived motivational needs and make sense of distress and impairment. No, we're looking for the truth. We just want to know what's real, if I can speak for some of us for a moment. We just want to know what's real. We want to know what the truth is, like about everything, not just one subject, but everything. We're like that. You know, we love the truth. What's this? Oh, this is another one just showing some of the celebrity side-by-sides and questioning if we're dealing with the same person anymore. That was a big one, too. Bradley Cooper was pretty wild changeover. And then there's that, so I don't know. That was a big one. There's Kai Cenat. Yeah, look at that. We saw him earlier. Another one. Just makes you wonder. So there's a bunch of them. It's just some. Just some. Moving on. Actually, let me see. This is this girl does good investigations, good videos, I think. Her name's BJ Investigates. She does some pretty cool breakdowns on things here. Let me see. She's done one here on Taylor Swift as a clone and other celebrity theories about cloning. I guess we'll see what we got. Let's check some of these out. Let's check a few minutes of it out, of her reporting.
Time there's a music video where Britney Spears did, it wasn't live action, it was a live music video, it was a cartoon, like animated.
I think there are clones, okay, and I think Kanye is a clone, and I'm gonna tell you why. He was really talking a lot. He was really saying too much. The cabal didn't like that, you know? The Illuminati, the cabal, they did not like how much he was saying. He was calling a lot of people out, and he said, if I go away and I come back and I look different, that is not me. What the happened? He was gone.
They cloned me. They wrote them and showed me. I'm here with my homies. Of course, oh my God, stop. They have Corey Gamble behind Donald Trump.
I did a video on this way back, the blonde hair thing, because that's part of a ritual. It also goes back to some Fritz Springmeier information. I put all that together. Because a lot of them have to go through the blonde hair thing, but that's a whole other story. All right, here we go.
Kanye West in the thumbnail.
Look, robot. See it? The jerks. Robot. He's dead or hiding somewhere. Look, no soul at all. Robot.
Anyway, there's also conspiracy theories about like this time period is whenever Kanye West had bleached his hair, and that is supposedly like to signify that he has done a personality wipe.
There's something strange going on with Kanye West. Anytime he calls out powerful people, political figures, or the systems he says control the industry, something happens to him. He spirals into a massive rant, the headlines explode, and then he vanishes into a hospital room. People who follow this theory look all the way back to 2002 and the car accident that almost killed him. They believed that moment changed more than just his jaw. They say it was the start of a version of Kanye that felt managed, controlled, and almost manufactured. But things got intense in 2016. He goes onto stage, names names, calls out politicians and billionaires, and within days he's suddenly hospitalized.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
After that moment, his entire presence shifts. His face looks different, his voice sounds different, his beliefs have changed, and the Kanye that people grew up with is completely gone.
So, the other thing too that I, again, I'm going to refrain from what I believe, but I'll just say, there's a kind of middle ground here where it's not actually cloning Kanye West, but it is kind of, lobotomizing him in some way. That's how they used to do it with physical lobotomies on people in these insane asylums and the psych wards. And that's why it really does kind of give me pause whenever I see people talking about make insane asylums great again. They used to lobotomize people in them, y'all.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on, but that reminds me of the video. Have y'all seen, let's see. I've shown this on KG's What Happened, but I never know. That's a long show. I don't know how much everyone sees. I don't know if you see everything, and that's okay. But there's a video I've been...
Kanye West is here.
There's a video that came up online several months back, and it's a person sitting on a park bench, and he looks exactly like Kanye West, but post-lobotomy, if you will. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I think this is it. Yeah, this is one of them. There have been a couple people have made.
Dazed and confused, captured by the account Mind Decay Cam, the eerie clip shows a man sitting alone on a park bench, seemingly dazed and confused.
Boom.
Viewers were quick to point out the man's uncanny resemblance to Kanye West, immediately triggering intense speculation.
And other people have shown pictures of lobotomy patients, and that's how they shave their head. Like they'll shave just that top part. And I've done a side-by-side, which is pretty wild.
You get a quarter for that, too.
Out of it.
Adding fuel to the fire, commenters noticed the man's peculiar hairstyle, eerily reminiscent of vintage photographs depicting patients who received lobotomies in the past.
Down here.
Captured by the account Mind Decay Cam.
I'm trying to pause it. Yeah, there's that. So there's one of the pictures of what they do to the people, but man. Yeah, because this new one is just not the same, He looks bigger, doesn't he? His shoulders are real broad now, the new one. He looks taller. And then they put him with that girl that was constantly going out in public with him, his girlfriend, like half naked and showing off all of her stuff constantly. And but if you look real close at her, she looks a lot like one of the Kardashians. A lot like it. So it gets weird. I wonder, it gets weird, right? Makes you wonder. I want to say hi to y'all. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We got 700 folks, around 700 right now. So 700 awesome, cool, interesting, critically thinking people. Man, that's my crew. So good to have you here. Thanks for hanging out for a bit on a Friday night, man. I appreciate it. Fun subject, and we've covered quite a bit, especially a lot of this connection with the soul transfer over to the new body, which is interesting, yeah. And I just want to say thanks again, man. And shout out, of course, to my YouTube members, man. Thank y'all so very much for the support here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tamara, for all you do. And just like I said, a pleasure to see you all here. Thank you so much. I mean it. All right, let's check some of this out now. This is a remote viewer, I believe. Claims to be a remote viewer and what she saw.
First time I ever realized cloning was a thing was on one of my remote view travels back in 2011. I ended up stumbling across a cloning facility. I was in this massive underground, almost like a warehouse. In these big open rooms were these giant machines, looked like a giant test tube, and inside were these naked human bodies. They were replicated. There was 2 or 3 of each individual being grown in this state of stasis. One of the easiest ways to play off cloning is plastic surgery. You can become unrecognizable recognizable. People like Zac Efron, these celebrity figures, we don't even know who they are anymore. Rather than MK Ultra or try and reprogram someone's mind to do their bidding, they will just take them out completely and program a clone to step into their place. And that's how they cover up this huge agenda. First time
It's good stuff, right? And it puts a whole new angle on the way we view many of these people that we consider to be Illuminati sellouts. Is that, you know, because we question, like, even with like Keir Starmer and some of these leaders out here who are just destroying their countries, it's like, how could somebody be that evil? And typically my mind goes to it's probably one of Satan's seed. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something created. But then again, these skin suits, you know, the spirits can go inside of them, as you know. And we saw that one video earlier of those weird skin suits. Here's another one about people being recycled. It goes back to cloning again, from Maverick Approach.
Have you guys ever stopped and wondered why a lot of celebrities look alike? It has me thinking a few things. Either they're all related, like a lot of presidents are related,
King of England,
or it's some type of cloning project, or they're pulling from the same gene pool, something of that nature. I mean, how many times does a face need to pop up before we start asking questions? I mean, really? It's almost like they're playing in our face just to see if we catch it or not. Like, how is that not her? I mean, not saying the same person, but the same genes, like the same facial structure, everything. This is back in 1981. This is unreal. And think about it. These celebrities are in our faces on the TV screens, in the movies, telling us different messages. It's almost like they're selected. I mean, a program like this could be real only because the celebrity never really existed until America came along and created the entertainment industry, which makes it even stranger that the Pentagon has a film department that works closely with Hollywood. Don't fact check me because that's all facts go Wikipedia. Now, speaking of movies, you guys remember this movie Book of Eli that came out in 2010? It had this poster right here. Now, the movie was in the future and already had a societal collapse, but this poster says the year is 2024 where everything started. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of things are starting to unravel this year. At this point, I feel like America's one big project with a bunch of celebrities and coincidences, and we have to have some discernment to figure out what's what. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this, because I have a way...
All right, Maverick Approach. Thank you very much. Are they clones, or is it something else? Is it something spiritual, or is it a combination of the two? Do they remove the person and then let a demon enter them, right? It's the other question. Here's another one, a bunch of different side-by-sides of some of these people, which are pretty startling. Look at some of these.
La technique du clonage, c'est exactement la...
Like Millie Bobby Brown and Elizabeth Perkins, Keira Knightley, Natalie Portman. It's like the same person. Same here. A little bit of a difference on those two. These two. Christian Bale and James Brolin. Yep, I can see it. Henry Cavill and Matt Bomer. Whoa. Very close. Emma Watson and Kieran Shipka. Look at that. Like twin sisters. Very similar. It's like they can only have a certain... They need to have a controlled group, maybe. That's the idea. That some of these people are recycled, if you will. And they know they can keep them under their thumb. You know, they're controlling them. They created them, in a sense, if you want to think of it that way. And it's really wild to think that we know we're in the beast system. It's controlled by the devil. But wow, could it be that controlled? Like on that level? And it makes you wonder, looking at these pictures, some of these people. Let's jump ahead some. Margot Robbie, Jamie Presley. That's pretty crazy. Timothy Chalamet and Natalie Dyer. I could kind of see that a little bit. Gene Wilder. Amy Adams, big time right there. Different eyes, but they keep going back to that one. That's a good one. And that one. All right, we got it. Just want to show some of those. Just makes you wonder. It's curious. Maybe there's other layers to all this, right? The celebrity clone AI replacements keep glitching. Here's some examples, I guess. The audio is real low on these. We don't really need it. These are short clips. All right, there's that.
Still ain't got no hair though.
I didn't see the glitch on that. All right, move on. Just people are guesstimating on that.
They did the brighter days.
Then there's this one. Some of y'all may have heard her say this before, but and as you know, she's one that's in there with just great changes.
They did the brighter days memory erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy because at the brighter days clinic they do the memory erasure.
Look at that. And we've seen that, like I said, on even on Jamie. He's missing a tattoo. Look, she's signing with different hands, just like Jim Carrey. Handwriting's different. Face looks different. There was a video a while back. Someone asked, why is her head so long? And there were some weird, multiple clips they showed where it looks like she has almost like an elongated skull. It's hidden by the hair. That's a whole other story.
They did the brighter days memory.
So there you go. Yeah, she's definitely another one that's just changed, man. I'm really glad, though, that more people in the mainstream are picking up on it. You know what I mean? So here's the one I was talking about earlier. I hadn't seen in a long time. Wasn't the easiest one to find, but it's another one of these weird kind of facilities where there's a bunch of suits in here. You know? Like, just suits. Suits of folks. And that would be like perfect, right? To throw a robot into, or a spirit, right? A spirit could have their selection. It could be anything they wanted. Middle-aged man, middle-aged woman, young man. And all of them have a red slash mark on the right side of the neck, which I don't know what that means. But you'll see that. There's one there. But this is the one I was talking about earlier. It's not one of the easier ones to find, but I've resaved it in another spot so I never lose it again, because it's just a good example. But let me see if you'll see some with the red slash kind of mark on the side of the suit, the flesh suit. There's a, see, that doesn't really show it. There's a better, there it is. Yeah, there's a bigger video of this, like not as, because they've cut some of this off, but you could see, if you really looked, on their right side of their neck, right there, they all have it. It's like a slash. It's really weird. I don't know what that means. Yeah, like I said, right there, you should be able to see all of them. So it's been cut a little short. But there we go, man. That's another one. It's like, you know, evil spirit smorgasbord there. I could choose whatever they want. Here's a little bit from Kanye, from the real Kanye West. Rest in peace, most likely, unless you're that guy on the park bench. Still.
They could control Charles Barkley. They could control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
No, not you, man.
But they can't control me. You
No,
see,
you.
it ain't no name I won't name. It's up in here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm appreciative.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize. And that's God's restaurant, where everybody coming in service to God.
Which God?
And he bringing it back tenfold,
Say
100-fold, a millionfold. Blessings untold, blessings harder than gold, stronger than a gold. I return my soul to the one that told me, the one that owns me, the ones that shows me. And that's what God showed me. The devil controlled me, but he can't hold me, because God done told me, and life has shown me that God is the only, the real, not the phony. The phony would clone me. Just watch how they cloned me. And look at me, show me. I'm here with my homies. I'm here with my families. I don't need a Grammy. I'm back in the building. I'm here with my children. You know it's a feeling. You know it's a feeling.
Realize like how there's a taller Kanye and a smaller Kanye, Kanye and a smaller. They're fighting for who's gonna be Kanye. They're fighting for who's gonna be Kanye, dude. And if I ever, if I ever went anywhere, we know why. You understand what I'm saying?
They can control Shaq.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole interesting rabbit hole, because for a while he was pushing the Christian thing, but he was still, like, I did a video on him. He went to Joel Osteen's church and they formed an all-seeing eye to perform inside of. It's like, dude, come on, you know. So he's doing weird stuff like that. And you pray for the guy. At least we did, hopefully, that he really found Jesus and would really make a change. But he also seemed to be on that path, perhaps. Maybe that's one of the many reasons why they said "see you later," to Kanye, and gave us this new thing.
Chappelle's first cousin says he was unalive, tells full story. 1 of 4.
I would like to talk about someone who was very dear to me.
It's a little low there, audio.
And some of you know who he is. That person is my cousin, David Chappelle. David Chappelle and I were first cousins. David and I, we were very, very close. So he loved his wife, he loved his mother, and most of all, David loved his family, and he loved the farm. And as some of you may know, he has a farm in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and he has a special name for that farm, which I'm not going to discuss about. But he calls that farm a certain name now. And on that farm is acres and acres of land. And I'm telling you, David was a responsible person when it came to his wife, his children, his mother, his family, and particularly their farm. Okay, as some of you may know, David had the Chappelle Comedy Show. So he did the Chappelle Comedy Show, and one day he was called into the executive office, and so David went in, and when he went there, he saw all of these executives and others that were around this table, and they had David surrounded like a clock. And it made David a little nervous because he thought he was talking to a few executives, but not a whole slew of them and other people as well. So they asked David, they told him he was doing fine on the show. Great, the show was great, David, but except for one exceptional thing. And David asked, what? They wanted David to ease up off, making the black characters look as stupid as he was portraying them. They wanted him to ease up off the black race. They wanted him to make the black race more intellectual, more, you get what I'm saying. They wanted him to, to quit it. To quit, just harping on the black race and making them look nonsense. Well, David said, to the executives and then some who were in the room, I don't understand what you're talking about. He said, because I portray the characters of the black race just like I portray the characters of the white race. And I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to keep both of them on the same level. And David said, no, but I can't do that. And so then they said, okay, David, we're going to make a deal with you. And David said, a deal? They said, yes, a deal. They told David, we'll give you $50 million. $50 million if you could come and join our team and be a part of us and this and that. And they told him some other things, which I'm not going to discuss. But you can rest assured the things that they said to David, to tell him what he could do and what he couldn't do, and this and that, and then the torture that they had and the pressure that they put pressure on this man, on David at that time of the meeting. Okay, and David said, no, well, if I accept $50 million from you, what would my fans think? And they said to David this: well, your fans already think that you are a crack addict from the characters that you portray. You know, they already think that that you're a pothead, that you're a drug head. So it doesn't matter what your fans think; it's what you are willing to accept. And then they went on to put the pressure on him once more. And David, he said, no. I can't accept it. I can't accept the $50 million. You have to understand, David wasn't trying to make the black race look foolish. He was doing comedy, just like Richard Pryor, just like Bernie Mac.
It was great.
Just
It was
like
a great
any
show.
other top comedian of long ago and today. Red Fox. Because see, David knew he was a black man. And David knew where his roots came from. He knew where his roots came from. The reason why they wanted David to quit having blacks to be foolish in the roles or the characters that he was playing was because at that time they knew, they had gotten word of, that eventually there was going to be a black man to be ushered in as our new president. And they wanted people all over to think that, that black people were not this way and black people were not that way, because they were ushering in Obama.
Interesting.
And worse than that, what if these niggas trip me up somehow, co-opt me, and then make me say the things that they want me to say?
Yeah, and that seemed like the new Chappelle.
Worse
there.
than that.
Yeah, and Kaepernick of all people too. He's part of the system. So interesting. But that was only part one.
Abraham Lincoln.
I was hoping I could
Dave
find
Chappelle's.
part two. Let me see. Part one. So there's only part one up there. But I'm assuming he would get into eventually, like the cloning situation and all that with Dave Chappelle. Either way, that's the last clip, y'all. So we're almost to 2 hours. That tracks about right. It's usually how we do. Let me throw a nice little background up here for us. Join you in the chat. Hey guys, good to see you, man. Thank you again so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. Fun hanging out with you on a Friday night. Thank you, Tamara, so much. Good to see everybody here. A lot of new names, too. I'm assuming from the scariest movie ever. I did a video there letting people know I was back. I'd kind of put that off for a while, but it's good to see a lot of these old school names here, too. So everyone meshing together, one big happy family. I love it. So good to see y'all, man. Thank you. Don't forget, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard here on KJ's What Happened. Got my live show, KJ's What Happened. So hope you can check it out. I got plenty to share with you. New video, of course, coming up later next week or this week. And then I'll post other stuff up later. But until then, we have the Uncensored show on Monday at 2 p.m. Central Standard over on Grumble, the Mean Green website. So please check that out. There's always stuff I really want to show you there, too. That's that, man. Otherwise, I hope you saw my brand new video, man. I posted a new video yesterday, so thank you guys very much for checking it out. And thanks again, y'all, for being with me on this this great subject. Shout out to my members, always. Thank you very much, YouTube members. Huge shout out to my Subscribestar people, family over there. Please follow on Subscribestar. I post everything there. It's been my backbone for years, so I appreciate it, you guys. And let me say a quick prayer, too. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you always for these platforms and always for these people. A wonderful family here, family in Christ, and I always pray that you help us all grow in our love for each other, and to be good with each other, because the world's so harsh, as you know. So help us really trust and love each other as brothers and sisters, and to spread that love, of course, into the world the best we can, and to also just use us, if it be in your will, as a light or a warrior or whatever you need us to be in this life. To help, the kingdom while we're here. So thank you for that. Thanks for all the wonderful things you provide for us, all the good things you do for us, and just thanks for loving us so much, Lord. So on that note, we love you. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, thanks, guys. I always want to get a little one in there. So I appreciate you guys. So hey, yeah, that's it, man. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard. Hope you're there. Been having great crew there. So it's always good to have you, man. L. Ivy Swagger, AATJE, Lucia, Jola, Lindy, Ciro, L. Ivy. What a pleasure. We have got quite the crew here tonight. Bora, Planted, Coulter, good to see y'all. Really Dizzy, love it. Justin Bundy, Sugar Zeros, thanks everybody. So once again, yeah, y'all have a good one. Thanks again for hanging out with me on this awesome subject. I think it's interesting. It's becoming a lot more obvious here lately, and there's some new rabbit holes we can kind of dig through also after tonight. So thanks again. Yeah, highly deceptive times, so I wouldn't be surprised by almost anything. I keep an open mind to things, and but also use your logic, reason, common sense, critical thinking, and spiritual discernment we got to these days because there's so much craziness. Anyway, I really love y'all in Christ, man, so thank you so very much. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks for checking out the show, even if you're watching later, of course. Thank you so much for watching, okay? Y'all take care, and I'll see you here tomorrow, man, 2 p.m. Central Standard, okay? All right, have a good night.